Jesus is Lord. And he was such a nice Jewish boy. Jesus changed my life. And he's still in the life-changing business.
As Paul said, the love of Christ compels me.
You know, Randy, I think most people don't realize how much darkness there is in the world.
It can't be just coming to church and getting pumped up with a faith. You and I are all going to have something of faith in us.
Jesus died to save sinners, and you are a sinner.
Shalom and welcome to CrossTalk. My name is Randy Weiss. I'm a Jewish believer in the Jewish Messiah. I love the God of Israel, the God of the Bible, the God of Avraham, Yitzchak, the Yaakov, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I love my people. My people don't always love me because I'm seen by some as a traitor, because I declare Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, to be my Messiah. HaMelech, the King. I'm not ashamed of those declarations because Jesus is Lord. He changed my life, and He's still changing lives today. Nevertheless, many reject Him. Many fail to understand who my Jewish Messiah is and the things that He did. Our ministry, this ministry of CrossTalk, is for the most part a teaching ministry, though we do many things in many parts of the world to impact lives, to try and make a difference in lives in tangible ways. We haven't talked a lot about it, but we have partnered in building a leprosy clinic to help hurting people. We've partnered to care for the children of lepers so that they wouldn't contract this tragic disease that still affects people in the 21st century in India. We work in Cuba and in different parts of the world. Probably our work in Cuba you may know a little more about because we have talked about that a little bit more. But another thing that we do in addition to teaching is I write books. I write about things that interest me. I don't know if they interest anybody else, but they interest me. And I put this book out recently. It's called Judaism Through the Eyes of Jesus. It's a view of ancient Jewish sects from the New Testament era. Actually, it talks about the forms and flavors of Judaisms. I say Judaisms, it's a plural. There's been many forms of Judaisms, not just one. It's not a monolithic religion. I don't believe ever has been. It certainly wasn't during the time of Jesus, and it isn't now. But this book deals with the types of Judaisms that existed just before the era of Jesus, during the time of Jesus, and shortly thereafter the time of Jesus. One of those sects that existed was the ancient Samaritans, and I want to read you a very brief piece because it's relevant to the program we're going to be having today. A Samaritan woman at a well. We all know the story in the Gospel of John, but I asked the question, what went through the mind of Jesus? What did His eyes see? We know that Jesus wept at the death of His friend Lazarus, but what we don't know is the volume of tears held back when His eyes beheld those who were most marginalized in Jewish society, such as a Samaritan woman He met near Shechem. She was visiting Jacob's well to pull up a bucket of drinking water. Yet the Gospel of John implies that she was a bit surprised by the request she heard from Jesus. So I ask, why was it odd that a thirsty man without a cup would ask for a drink from a woman at a well? I mean, it seems rather natural, don't you think? You're thirsty, you don't have a cup. There's somebody getting water from a well. Hey, ma'am, can I have a drink of water? It seems perfectly normal. The man was thirsty. The well was deep. He carried neither rope nor bucket. A single cup of water should not have presented a problem for the woman. Yet there were numerous issues that Jesus intended to confront through his divine appointment. Jesus merely asked for a drink. Quote, "The Samaritan woman said to him, 'You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink?' For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." The problem was not with the water or the well. It was with the cup. You got to understand, all he wanted was a drink of water. But he used that opportunity to present a crisis that existed in the system. That crisis was an entire group of people who were marginalized within Judaism. There were many forms and flavors of Judaism during the time of Jesus. There are many people groups that were marginalized and are marginalized today. Some of you know about the work that we've been doing for a number of years called Today with God. But what you don't know is the reason why I became engaged in this work and why I believe the Lord called me to develop the Today with God television series. It focused around that marginalized Samaritan woman. But I wasn't thinking about a Jewish woman, a Samaritan Jew. No, I was thinking about another marginalized woman. I was thinking about a woman in India, a woman among a people group known as the Dalits, the untouchables. You see, within ancient Judaism, women were not quite the same as men in their, I don't want to say value, but they were seen differently. Women were a bit more marginalized than men. And this woman at the well, this Samaritan woman, well, she was a Samaritan. She was sort of worse because she wasn't a full Jew. She was a Samaritan Jew, and mainline Judaism had little respect for the Samaritans. And making matters worse, she was a sinful woman. So what could be worse than a marginalized, no respect Samaritan woman who was a sinner? There was no hope for her. No hope. And I couldn't get out of my mind a Dalit woman, an untouchable woman in India of a caste less than a full human being. And not just of an untouchable caste, but a woman less than a man. And not just less than a man because she was a woman, but a woman who was immoral, a woman who was in sin. No hope. There would have been no hope for a woman like that in India. And this isn't 2,000 years ago. This is today, in the 21st century. And I wanted that woman to see and hear and understand the love of God expressed to this marginalized, less than a full human being who was also a sinner, who Jesus came to see and communicate with and to reach out and to ask for her help and to receive a cup of water from her, even though Jews just didn't do that. Because I believe with all my heart that if that story can be seen and heard and understood by a Dalit woman who has sin in her life, she would reach out to know and love my Messiah, Jesus. That's the reason the Today with God project exists today. And in just a moment, we're going to return after a short break, and I want to introduce you to a woman from India who I believe can explain to our audience why this is important, because you need to understand this, and I don't know if I'm fully equipped to explain it. Please stay tuned.
Southwestern Assemblies of God University's School of Business has a vision to make an impact in the lives of students and the world. To be uncommon, you have to look outside the walls of traditional thinking. That is why they reached out to CrossTalk International to work together to develop a plan that teaches students to change the world by actually doing it. Dr. Lasharnda Beckwith of SAGU and SAGU alumni Joshua Weiss of CrossTalk took a group of 10 believers to both India and Sri Lanka and engaged the people in ways that have never been done. The Business for Missions team put their education to practice as they did quality research to develop successful micro-businesses. This team is infusing hope into a people in need. The process of developing these businesses is a 3-year plan that will not only present ideas, but will help implement them and then make sure that they succeed. The team also brought the quality teaching materials of the Today with God project and left tools for the local churches to be empowered to spread the word of God to the people of India and Sri Lanka. Through the Today with God project, the Business for Missions team gave the opportunity to see, hear, and understand the visual presentation of the gospel message. Together, the Southwestern School of Business and CrossTalk International have provided the tools to be fishers of men, but have also shown how to be fishers of fish. With God's help, they are bettering people's lives in both physical and spiritual ways. And this is only the beginning. In Matthew chapter 13, Jesus shares a parable about sowing seed on good ground where it can produce crop that can yield 30, 60, and even 100 times the amount that was sown. In the business world, we call this a good ROI, or return on investment. The ROI is evidence that the Lord is doing some great things through this ministry. But we're needing support. Our annual missions budget is only reached through the generosity of our supporters. Your generous monthly support or one-time gift, it will sow vital seeds on good ground and reap a fruitful harvest. Thank you for your consideration to invest in the ministry outreach of CrossTalk International.
Thank you for staying tuned. Again, this is CrossTalk. My name is Randy Weiss, and I want to introduce you to Swapna from India. Oh, it's so good to have you with us. Some of our audience had a chance to meet your husband, the Metropolitan Archbishop of the Church of India, my friend John Augustine. But I've been so looking forward to you joining us on the program, because I think you understand my heart for this Today with God project probably better than most anyone, and I want our audience to understand this work in India, what you do and why it's important.
This project is very important for us because in India we have the people in the villages, and like for our voting system we have the symbols because the people cannot read the names. Similarly, the people cannot read the scriptures, they cannot read the gospel, they cannot read the Bible. So if we just give out the tracts to them, they will not be able to read it. But if we take a video and if we give them a visual, if they show it to them and then we explain it to them, they will be able to understand it very clearly. And when we are talking about the Samaritan woman, the people of India will be very much able to understand it, because we in India have the caste system and we are divided into 4 castes. We have the upper caste, that is the Brahmins, then we have the Kshatriyas, that is the warrior class, we have the Vaishya, that is the business class, and then we have the Shudras or the lower caste. We have been trying since ages, and especially Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi has been trying that the caste system in India should just not be there, and there should not be any kind of prohibition for the lower caste to go and take water from the village wells, or anybody could go to the temple. But till today we have lot of restrictions. We have the restriction like the lower caste people cannot go to many places. The women are forbidden from doing various things, because they are not only from a lower caste, they are also women. So we are not like American women, we are not equal.
It's tragic that in the 21st century that such a backward concept can control the lives of literally hundreds of millions of people. And this is it's a falsehood. It's a deception. God does not desire that women be subjugated. God does not desire that people have no hope for advancement, have no opportunity to excel in their God-given gifts. Yet in a nation with 1 billion people, perhaps a few 100 million, they believe their destiny is sealed, that there's no hope because of a religious tradition that has separated them from the rest of society. I just don't believe that's the heart of God for the people of India. I believe He wants people to be free and filled with hope and exuberance and enthusiasm. And I know that is your heart for the women of India.
See, in India we have a lot of problems as far as women are concerned. We do not have just one problem. We do not have just the caste system. We also have the problem like the birth of a girl child is not considered a good thing. There are a lot of celebrations when a boy is born, but when a girl is born, then it is sad.
And what do you think God feels when a girl is born?
God must be feeling happy, because God has created us, and without a woman, a man is half. He cannot, whatever God wanted, the procreation cannot be complete if there is no woman. All men cannot live and run the world. There will be no children. But in India, the things are different. In India, we see a girl as a burden, because first we have to bring them up. Then after that, when we have to send them off for marriage, we have to pay a huge dowry. And that is the time when the parents feel burdened. The parents of the boy who have spent on his education, now they start demanding, our son is a doctor, so we spend huge amount of money in educating him. So now we want a car for him, a house for him, so much of money, so much of gold jewelry. So the girl's parents, when the girl is born, they see her not as a happy thing. It is like, oh, we'll have to spend so much of money for her. And after educating the girl, we educate our daughters. We also make them doctors, engineers, scientists. But when we go to the marriage market, we have to give the dowry for her. Although the government of India has passed so many laws, and the dowry, there is a Dowry Act, there are laws where if the dowry is demanded, then the people can go behind the bars. But still this is very much prevalent. So that is why we have in India, the other day I was talking to one of my co-workers in WME, and she was telling that her daughter is about to have a daughter. So I said, how do you know that she is going to have a daughter? So she said, oh, we found through the ultrasound. I said that is strictly prohibited in India. We cannot find out the gender of the child, unborn child, because if we try to find the gender of the fetus, then most people will abort if it is a girl child.
It's a crime, but it's a common crime, just as many of these traditions that have come from religion are foisted on the people, and there's a deception that just blinds folks. We have to take a break. Please stay tuned. This is important information that is affecting hundreds of millions of people, and you need to know about it.
Did you know that leprosy still exists? That's why a few years ago, we worked with World Missionary Evangelism to create a leper clinic here in India, where we provide the medicines and food and the gospel on a daily basis. One thing we found was that the children of leper patients were contracting the disease as well, because they get the disease through regular daily contact over long periods of time. So we worked with WME to create a children's home where the children of these leper patients could live nearby their family, but give them a hope and a future free of the disease. Would you consider sponsoring one of these children? Would you consider helping to give them a hope and a future? For just $25 a month, you can give that hope. You can provide that future. Less than $1 a day. Give us a call at 1-800-688-3422.
Check out the all-new IBN television. Follow the move by tuning in as we partner with ministries like Greg Laurie and Harvest America. Serving our audience 24 hours a day, IBN broadcasts on 52 television stations around the country and on popular streaming apps like Roku, Apple TV, Android, and many others, with one purpose: to share the move of our living God with the dying world on a daily basis. IBN Television.
Thank you for staying tuned. We're visiting with Swapna from India, who's directly involved with the Today with God work in India to help the women of India understand God loves them. We are created in the image of God. He loves boys and girls. This gospel of Jesus Christ that's presented through Today with God is the answer. The gospel is the answer.
Yes, the gospel has clearly shown, especially in the incident when we have the Samaritan woman, when Jesus comes and asks for water, he does not see that who is that woman. He does not see that it is a woman, not a man. He does not see whether she is a low caste or an upper caste, which means that in the eyes of Jesus, a woman or a low caste woman has no meaning. It means she is another human being.
There's no negative distinction.
There is no negative distinction, which means Jesus has never created, never thought. God did not ever have in his mind this discrimination between man and women. He created them equal, and he wanted them to work side by side, and then only when they work side by side and when they work together that we can run the world smoothly.
And God doesn't see a Brahmin as better than an untouchable, and God doesn't see a Brahmin as less of a sinner or more in need, any less or more in need of salvation. Whether one is a Brahmin at the top or an untouchable at the bottom, the issue is not the birth mother. The issue is sin, and salvation is available to all, Brahmin or untouchable. But they don't know that.
The people don't know that. But when we go out in the field and when we talk about Jesus Christ, when we talk about how they will get salvation through Jesus Christ, we are able to tell them that we are Christians, we are of no caste. Our blood, if you cut me open, my blood and your blood will be of the same color. If I am from a lower caste or from a higher caste, if I am having O positive and you need O positive blood, it is the same. The blood does not start shouting, I am from a higher caste or from a lower caste. So when we go and teach the gospel to the people, then we are able to tell them that Jesus Christ told us through all these scriptures, through all these miracles that happen, that there is no such distinction from man to man or from man to woman.
There is one blood that matters in the eyes of God, and that is the shed blood of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I have to believe that an untouchable woman who has sinned in her life, and we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. An untouchable woman in India who hears this message of love without discrimination, that doesn't say you're not welcome here because you're an untouchable. You're not good enough because you're not a Brahmin. You're a sinner in need of salvation, and God has made that available to all without distinction. I have to believe that just like the Samaritan woman who, when Jesus received her and she realized that this is the Messiah, she went back and told her whole village. I have to believe that when an untouchable woman in sin hears this message of God's love and receives it and is set free from the bondage of false religion that has developed the entire caste system to begin with, she breaks free in the love of Jesus. Will she go back and tell her village, and will that message be received?
Yes. See, Jesus came and He forgave all the sinners. He died for the sins. Through Him, we have been forgiven all the sins. So there is no question of any particular woman, whether it is a low caste, whether it is a upper caste. What is sin? She was forced because of maybe her poverty, maybe some circumstances, or if she was raped, then it is not that she who has sinned. So it is there all in the mind. People tell that you are a sinner. But what is Jesus saying? What is more important for us? What did God say? What did Jesus say? He said that there is no such thing. He accepted her. He is accepting everybody. He accepted everybody. So which means that if He is not discriminating, then there is nobody else who has the right to discriminate.
We are out of time, but there's so much more that I know you want to express that we need to hear. Please join us again next time. Please invite your friends and pray. Pray for the work of Today with God. Pray for the work in India. Till next time, shalom and God bless.